shop talk.
Who's next? I'm just warming up.
Paul and Tara.
Clash of the Titans.
Go for it.
I'm good to go. Okay, let's see. Pen, an icicle, and a slipper.
A slipper?
Yes, a pen, an icicle, and a slipper. Oh, this one has a fair written all over it.
How so?
The icicle.
The icicle.
Cold and sharp with the stab of betrayal.
Oh.
The pen represents communication, notes back and forth, messages. And the slipper is quiet footsteps in the dark, sneaking around behind someone's back.
You're good.
Thank you, Sam.
That's why I married her.
I think it's something to do with family. Slippers are a comfort, and so is the icicle.
How is an icicle comfort?
You know, Christmas lights, family, but melting.
Melting. Yeah.
One drip at a time.
So we have an affair happening at the same time as...
A family member is murdered.
And the name?
Come on.
Oh, Cold Secrets. Oh, nice.
That was the name of my band in high school.
Cold secrets. Not bad, Paul.
Come on.
Life. No. Death by the drop.
David and Robert.
Don't be intimidated, Dave.
I'm not. I read your book, remember?
So you're the one.
How long are you going to use that joke?
Until someone else buys a copy. Okay. Come on, David and Robert. Let's see. A needle, a chair, and a rock.
A chair? Really?
What's wrong with the chair?
Okay. A rock is solid, dangerous, hard. Alcatraz.
Oh, I like it. The chair is hard.
Oh, no, helping.
An electric chair. Cheating.
No.
I'm telling you.
David, that doesn't make any sense.
Sam, it's the only thing that does make
Why
sense.
would she fly all
I'll
the way?
bet you.
I am not betting you. Why would she fly all the way here for that?
Okay, so what then?
I don't know, but really,
I bet you Paul wanted us to take his ashes down south, and he asked his daughter to get them to us.
I can see that.
Right?
I mean, he always talked about taking one more trip.
Robert.
I know, too soon.
Jeez. Okay. Paul died here.
So?
The crematorium is 20 minutes from here. Why would he have his daughter fly halfway across the country? Oh, wait a second. A daughter he just met, might I add, pick up his ashes and deliver them to us.
Maybe she has to come anyway and deal with the house and stuff?
Well, it wasn't a funeral or anything. Maybe it was his way of making her feel part of it or something.
He barely knew her.
I don't know. Guilt.
I mean, why wouldn't she say something on the phone about it when she called?
I didn't talk to her. I just got an email.
And what, she didn't mention ashes or anything?
No, nothing.
Is she the executor?
Executrix.
Whatever.
Oh, I doubt very much Paul would make her the executrix. Ooh, maybe his ex.
Emma. Yeah, maybe.
Executrix. Doesn't sound like a legal word. Sounds more fun.
No, Paul would never have someone that we have never met just show up at the door with his ashes. Oh, yeah, here's Dad. Come on.
Well, I think they generally come in an urn, Sam.
Paul would have given us the heads up.
Yeah, he would have.
Especially to you.
I don't know. He did have a pretty weird sense of humor.
No, you don't assume that people are going to take care of stuff like that. I mean, scattering ashes, it's a big thing, you know? It's very personal. It's got to be done right.
When my grandmother died, they scattered the ashes at the end of the dock at the cottage because that's where she liked to sit to look out onto the lake.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, except the kids were terrified to swim in the lake after that because Grandma was buried under the dock. And now Grandma's buried under Chuck Carson's dock.
Oh. Hey, what about Ben?
How the hell did that story remind you of Ben?
A cottage. I've been to Ben's cottage.
Oh, and let me guess. He has a very nice dock.
Actually, he does. In fact, he has a really big...
Okay. What about Ben?
I don't know. Maybe he's looking after Paul's things, you know, being his friend and agent. Maybe, I don't know.
No, he's not. At least if he is, he didn't mention it to me.
When did you speak to Ben?
He called. After Paul died, he knew we grew up together and had a little chat, a couple laughs about Paul. We also talked about Tara, how the investigation was going, if anything new had come up.
Yeah, Ben's a good guy.
Yeah, bad at returning phone calls.
When you have a big dock, you don't have to.
Which explains why you always get back to me.
Yeah, good one.
Anyway, when I was talking to Ben, I mentioned that I'd started going through some of Tara's things.
You have?
Yeah, it's time.
Good. I'm glad.
And in doing so, I came across a bunch of stuff that hadn't been published, books you've been working on, that kind of thing. Yeah, I mentioned this to George, and a couple days later, I got
You got a call from Pilkin.
from Pilkin, and they're very interested in putting out a book.
Of course they are.
The 5-year anniversary cash grab.
5 years.
All business.
Of course.
I'll bet Ben got his way in there for a cut.
Well, I would imagine. Anyway, he made me an offer, and I accepted.
Really? Well, why didn't you say something sooner? That's huge,
Yeah.
Robert.
I don't know. It feels weird. I don't know.
Well, Tara would say, take the money and run.
Which is why I said yes. Anyway,
That is crazy.
yeah, crazy. I was also thinking maybe with a book coming out, it might start something if she is somewhere.
Oh, someone might
Exactly.
say something, know
Yeah.
something. Well, you never know.
It's worth trying, right?
Absolutely.
Now, with regards to the offer,
Smooth, David.
is it money or monies we're talking about here?
Monies.
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 Monies is more than money.
Oh, yes, thank you. I know what monies means. I just think you sound like a pretentious ass saying it.
I am a pretentious ass.
Well, you're half right.
Money with the possibility of monies.
And speaking of which, and which being money, come
What?
on, you know, we've all been wondering,
What?
you know, how much Paul's worth.
How long did that take?
A little over an hour. You owe me dinner.
What can I say?
Hilarious. So how much? A couple million?
Easily.
Oh,
12 books.
And he was writing when you could actually make money.
yeah.
I would say 5 million.
Oh, it's 5 now.
Plus his TV stuff, After Dark, Temptation. He did a lot of episodes of that After Dark show.
Oh, God, that was such a shitty show.
I like it.
Who would?
Well, stupid money. I mean, Tara did 6 episodes of 5 Down. We spent the summer in Europe.
Oh, plus investments.
He was good with his money.
Jesus. Good with their money. I like how cheap people are called that after they die.
He was not cheap.
He was good with his money.
He still owes me $80.
Well, don't think you're gonna get it, Dave. Just say it.
Yeah, maybe he left it for you with his will.
Which brings us back to that.
Smooth. Here we go.
And as executrix, if not his ashes, I bet his daughter is coming here tonight to carry out our dearly departed friend's last wishes in the form of a nice big fat check.
You'll have better luck with the ashes.
Okay, so it's not his ashes, it's not money, then what? What is she bringing that is so important that she has to bring it in person?
Well, I don't know. It could be anything. A book, a picture, who knows?
A picture. You can email a friggin' picture. It's money.
Maybe it's property?
It's money.
Well, I don't care what it is, to be honest.
That's the kind of thing people with money say.
I actually have monies.
Man. The new Tara Waters book coming out.
Crazy, eh?
They're going to start again.
I know.
Just be ready.
I will be.
You just know they're going to say you're cashing in.
I am.
Well, interview should be interesting.
Well, obviously I wouldn't say that. Anyways, I'm not doing any publicity, no interviews. I already told them I'm handing over the material. That's it.
And they agree to that? Great. Screw them.
Take the money and run.
Yo, take the money, and run.
That's what I would call a fucking book.
Man, I miss them.
Yeah, we all do.
I miss you guys. You know, we never hang out anymore. That's just so sad.
Yeah, everything just kind of...
And we had so much fun together. Drinking wine.
Oh, it's some crazy times. Good times.
What was the name of that bar? You know, that little bar in St. Kitts, the one with the...
C'est la vie.
Yes! Oh! C'est la vie! Oh, man, we had so much fun there.
Oh, that was a great place.
Yeah, it was.
Let's plan a trip. Come on, I am serious.
We might have to if she shows up here with his ass.
Oh, honestly, you know, I think those were the best times of my life. Talking all night, laughing our asses off. Those stories on that game.
Shit, speaking of stories, some of the stories that I was going through for Tara's book are ours.
Ours?
Well, at least a lot of them. I mean, some of the stuff we came up with just screwing around, she wrote them down.
Seriously?
Yeah. A lot of them are crap. Some of them unfinished, but there's some good stuff here.
That is crazy.
I
Shit,
know.
you weren't kidding.
Man, looks like those drunken nights might actually pay off, huh?
Crazy, right?
Ooh. Dead eyes.
Oh, the creepy doll.
Ooh.
Wow, look at all these.
Too much wine.
And weed.
Oh, and weed. You still smoke?
No.
The last time I smoked, I worried about my phone bill for 2 hours. I think I paid it twice that night just to be sure.
She came up with so many. I mean, Cold Comfort, Black Water.
Dead End. Great story, but published under West of Dead.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
The Need. Ooh, Blood of Our Family.
Oh, Kill 4 a.m. I remember this one.
Here's one. Shitstorm.
My opus.
Oh, look. This one only has one title, one sentence. Don't tell anyone, but I'm dead.
Oh, yeah. That's just something she was working on. Pitch that as a movie. That has Sandler written all over it.
Yeah, look at all these. Jesus.
Lots of memories.
Yeah.
Ha! Ha ha ha!
That was Paul's. I remember that one.
Oh, here's a good one. Remember this? Swimming at night?
Oh! Speaking of funerals,
Yeah.
remember the embalmer's party thing?
Oh, yeah.
Man, you know what always bothered me about that story?
The room full of dead bodies wearing party hats?
No. That's New Year's Eve with my ex.
And you've grown to my joke.
Oh, You know, what always bothered me about that story was the room. It must have smelled terrible, right?
I forgot how much fun you are at a party.
That's definitely one for the book.
Paul was a great writer, but he had nothing on Tara. I mean, she came up with some freaky shit.
It was the technique, worked every time.
A salt shaker, a book, and a rose.
No. Nice try.
Come on, you were great.
I was good. Not great.
Yeah, Bob's right. He wasn't great.
Thank you, Dave. Tara had the talent. I was happy just to be in her shadow.
Come on, you know I am not going to stop.
I know. That's why I love you.
God, these bring back a lot of memories.
Is it enough for a book?
Oh, thought of a name yet?
I was thinking Circle of Fear.
Circle of Fear.
And then there were 3?
Yeah, well, our circle is getting smaller.
I'm sure there's enough for a book there. They always pad these, special edition anniversary things. Add some pictures, stretch out the acknowledgments and the prologue. I saw one once with a fold-out fucking map.
And I still have a lot more to go through.
There you go. I'm sure there's a story there.
Oh, and if any of our stories make it into the book.
Yeah.
I'm just checking. I'm looking at convertibles.
No, Bob, I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to put something in about Tara, her disappearance.
They do.
Sure.
First chapter.
Of course.
Part of the deal.
Lovely.
George never misses a chance.
I would imagine. I mean, I wouldn't have mentioned it to him if I didn't want him to pitch it. Oh, and here's some news. He's handling Mackenzie now.
Oh!
Alex McKenzie, that guy's a fucking hack.
Hack or not, he sells a shitload of books. And Seeing Eye Doug is coming out.
Speaking of Sandler,
I love that title. Yes. Seeing Eye Doug. It's funny.
funny.
Yes, funny. You're just jealous.
Goddamn right.
George is going to be rich. If I kept any of those texts.
This is what drives me crazy. Seeing Eye Doug will make millions. Meanwhile, there's good stuff out there just gathering dust on a shelf.
Yeah, like Robert's book.
He said good stuff.
Listen, your book would make a great film, you know. You should really try to shop it around again.
It might get noticed now, buddy.
Because of Tara.
Well, yeah.
Well, I thought about that, but to be honest with you, I haven't given a shit about that book in a long time.
Jesus, I am starving. Where the hell is she?
Yeah. What's on the menu?
Well, she's a vegan. She made that very clear.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah. Tofu salad.
Or maybe I'll get lucky and she's bringing a pizza.
How did you accidentally hear about tofu?
A meat lover's pizza. Jesus, tofu salad? That's it? You couldn't grill a freaking mushroom cap or something?
I did cheese plates.
Cheese plates?
Yes.
Oh, yes. She'll love that. Being a vegan and all.
She can eat the crackers, right? I mean, are they allowed crackers?
It's not a cult.
Speak of the devil. Nobody till she's gone. We'll order a pizza. A meat lover's pizza.
Yes, please. Seeing eye duck.
Oh, it is funny.
Oh,
You must be Eve.
Robert,
Leave your shoes on, it's fine.
I have my bags.
Let me help you with that. Come on in, come on in. Come on in. Eve, this is...
David and Samira.
hi.
Sam. Oh, it is so nice to finally meet you. Gosh, you are so beautiful. You look nothing like your dad.
I've heard so much about you.
Oh, you too.
Well, you don't have to lie. I bet you didn't even know I existed.
Well, existed, yes, but I'm afraid not much more.
Let me help you with that. Come on in, come on in. Can I get you a coffee?
Oh, no, I've had enough coffee, thanks. Any more, I'll start cleaning your apartment.
Coffee it is.
That was a joke.
Something stronger?
Something stronger sounds perfect.
I have wine, beer,
Scotch?
scotch. I do, in fact, have scotch.
Are you hungry? If you
Oh,
are,
no,
we can make-
I'm fine, thanks. I'm one of those strange people who actually likes airplane food.
Well, then you are going to like Robert's cooking.
Oh, ha
So I
This
didn't
seems
read.
like a really not.
Sorry. No, you go ahead.
It's a great area. I love your loft. It's exactly like I pictured it.
ha! Thanks.
So, how was your flight?
Wonderfully uncomfortable, thanks. I may like the food, but I am not a fan of being wedged into a tiny seat. Big fat guy used me as a cushion for 4 hours. I only said that because none of you are fat.
Thanks.
Ice?
No, thanks.
I was surprised to get your email. Pleasantly surprised, of course.
Well, thanks for getting back to me so quickly.
Hey, your family.
That's so nice. Thank you. We should have a lot to talk about. You don't know me, and I don't know you.
You're right. What did we talk about you?
Even with you, his closest friends?
No. Paul liked to be moving into the future. He didn't have a lot of time for the past.
Well, I'm not so sure about that.
Well, at least he was like that with us.
Yeah, it was nothing personal.
Paul and my mom split up just after I was born. I never mentioned him to my friends. I just assumed it was the same for him. I only met him because I was curious about what kind of man he was.
Well, he was a great guy.
Very funny guy.
Really? Funny.
Oh, yeah.
Great guy. You know, I'm sure that if Paul could do things over again, he'd do a lot of things differently. We all would, but unfortunately, we don't get that chance.
He was 18 when I was born. He was a kid. I don't blame him for being scared and not dealing with it.
18. Wow, he really was just a kid.
It was only part of his life for a few months at the beginning of my life and a few months at the end of his.
Sad. I'm sorry.
Oh, no need. It's just the way it was.
So, what made you contact your dad after so long?
Actually, he contacted me.
Oh.
I did not know that.
And he's not my dad. He's my biological father.
Of course.
When he realized he only had a few months, he contacted my mom and she put us in touch. He just wanted to see if I wanted to meet him. In case he died before I got the chance. He was scared I'd always have that regret.
That sounds like Paul.
How is Emma?
Great, thanks.
You say hello to her for me.
That must have been so strange.
Strange?
Oh, meeting him for the first time.
It was. We talked. It was strange, but not surreal or anything. Just like, oh, so this is my father. I didn't know him growing up, so nothing really changed.
Well, I'm really glad you had the chance to meet him.
Me too. We spent time together last year. It was really nice just getting to know him, and then, well, everything happened so fast.
He fought so hard, you know, you should know he never gave up.
When he couldn't be at home, we visited him as often as we could.
Yeah, towards the end, we weren't even sure if he knew that we were in the same room, you know, it was just, it was sad. You know, he had always been so strong. Oh, shit. You know what, I'm sorry. We
Oh
probably
no,
shouldn't even...
please don't apologize. I'm so happy you were there for him.
But you know, he never lost his sense of humor. Well, I mean, eventually he did.
Dave?
He was lucky to have you all in his life.
So, have you been tasked with looking after Paul's house and things? His estate?
Yeah, things pretty organized. Neat little pile in his desk drawer. Instructions, lawyers, letters, everything.
That sounds like Paul.
Yeah, I'm sure he would have had everything organized. His will prepared.
So, you and Paul grew up together?
Yeah, we did. We met in grade 3.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna miss him.
And how do you two know each other?
Oh,
Sam and I went to college together.
yeah, we've been friends ever since.
I'm vice president. I work at a publishing house.
The mailroom?
Cute.
Oh, I like her.
Reminds you of someone?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm vice
I always
president.
thought it was strange that you and Paul grew up together and both became writers.
Doesn't matter.
Well, Paul became a writer, a very good one and a very successful one. I wrote a book that ended up in the bargain bin. To call us both writers would be a bit of a stretch.
Oh, stop it, Robert. You are a wonderful writer.
Well, to be a writer, I think you have to be writing. I haven't written a word in 8 years.
I read your book.
Oh, so you're the one. It's an old joke.
I liked it.
The joke or the book?
Both. But the book had more depth.
Not according to the Star, but thank you.
Why'd you stop writing?
Now who does she remind you of?
If it's none of my business, just tell me.
No, it's okay. When my book came out, it did a lot less than everyone, including my publisher, had hoped.
I stay being his friend anyway,
But it
even
was
though
so
I'm
good,
vice
I don't
president.
understand.
Actually, we were just talking about the book.
Well, it was disappointing. Around that time, I met Tara. She was looking for an editor. I needed the money. The rest is history.
So you had the one book.
Yeah.
And how many did Paul have out at that time?
I don't know, like 2?
I think it was 3.
Oh, whatever, anyway.
Do you miss it?
Not really.
Well, I hope you write another book. I love the way you build suspense.
Thank you.
So I know this is going to sound incredibly lame to all of you, but please don't laugh at me. But I was hoping you would sign my copy.
Oh. Well, you've just become his new best friend.
Eve? Really? Like,
Ooh.
And there it is.
Please?
I don't have a...
Oh, a pen? Oh, yeah, we can help you out, but 1 second. My pleasure.
Thank you.
It's EVE.
Thank you.
To Eve. Robert.
Oh, so touching.
Right?
You know, I think it's time we raise the glass to a friend and a father.
Paul.
Paul.
You know, Paul used to always joke. Something funny?
I'm sorry? Where might I find the washroom?
Down the hall on your right.
How did she get nervous?
Well, we are her dad's friends. Sorry, her biological father's friends.
It's really awkward. Wonder where she's staying.
Well,
Jesus,
she
I don't know.
brought her bag. Over there.
She would have booked a hotel or something, right?
So she came straight here from the airport instead of checking into the hotel, dropping her bags off? Does that make sense?
It's possible.
Come on.
I think she may be staying here.
Well, she would have asked her something, wouldn't she?
Not necessarily.
Now, this is awkward.
Yeah. Look, is it just me or is she a bit weird?
I think she's sweet.
If she's staying, you're staying.
No problem.
What, are we all going to sleep in the same bed?
I'm listening.
Oh,
This is such a cool loft.
Thanks.
It's a writer's place. Is this your father?
Yeah, that's Robert Sr.
Robert Sr.
Yeah, he lives in Clayton, not far from here.
You have his eyes.
Still fishes, hunts.
I can't believe I'm standing in her apartment.
Yeah, there
I'm
used to be.
such a big fan of your wife.
Well, that's nice to hear. A lot of people don't know this, but it was actually your dad who.
Introduced you to each other.
That's right. Paul must have told you that?
No.
So how did you know?
I saw your wife speak at Cornerstone Books in Toronto. She told the story about how she and Paul used to try to outdo each other.
yeah, it was always fun to watch the two of them duke it out as to who could be more disturbing.
Who usually won?
I think we generally call it a tie.
So, you met Tara.
Just briefly at the signing. Cold Secrets.
That was her favorite, actually.
Mine too. I've read it 3 times.
Small world, you mean Tara?
Not really. I went specifically to see her.
She didn't mention that.
Why would she?
Daughter of a close friend?
And how would she know that?
Didn't you introduce yourself?
No.
Well, you should have. She would have loved to have met you.
Why didn't you?
This was ages ago. I was 17 at the time. I didn't know Paul and your wife were even friends.
So, you're a big fan of my wife's, and then a few years later, you find out that her and your father are really good friends?
Yes,
It's a hell of a coincidence.
isn't it?
Well, Tara and Paul were great friends. She would have loved to have met you.
Paul and your wife were very close.
Yeah, they were.
You didn't like talking about her disappearance.
Oh, it was hard on all of us.
You had a lot of fun together.
We did.
The 5 of us would spend Christmas down south each year. We had some great times.
But you don't anymore?
No.
Just wasn't the same, but we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, your dad could dish it out just as good as he could take it.
Yeah, but he was generally more on the taking it side.
True.
Like what?
Oh, I don't know.
Come on. I want to know more about him.
Just stupid stuff.
Yeah, like what?
Oh, Jesus.
Come on, tell her a good one.
All right. I had a friend of mine, this was years ago, call Paul and tell him that she worked with the movies and that they wanted to option one of his books and make it into a movie. Anyway, she laid it on really thick. She was saying, oh, the producers want to do this and that, and blah, blah, blah. Paul was playing it all cool. And just before she hung up, she said, by the way, Robert says hello. There was a pause. All we heard was the click. We laughed our asses off.
Click.
Poor guy. Well,
he didn't talk to me for a couple of weeks. I mean, kind of laughed about it later.
Hey, tell her about the van.
Jesus.
Tell me.
No.
I want to know the story.
Come on, tell her.
Please?
Okay.
Wow.
We were down south, this is what, 8 years ago?
You all used to go every year.
Yeah, we did. Anyway, this is about 8 years ago, and
Jeez, I still can't. I can't believe you did this.
I did this.
Yeah, you.
We did this. Anyway, I know some people down there, so I hired these two guys to pick up Paul when he was walking home from the clubs in the middle of the night. They pulled up alongside him in a van and threw him in.
You did that?
Jesus, he was scared shitless.
I would kill you.
Obviously, I wouldn't do that to a woman.
Anyway, they told him they were going to kill him if he didn't come up with like 10 grand or something. Just when he was about to crap himself, they dropped him off at the resort and said, "Robert says hello."
He was pissed off.
I thought he was going to kill you.
That's a terrible joke. Well, it's not even a joke.
It was later.
It was all in good fun.
I really don't see how that's fun.
Well, you had to be there.
He could have had a heart attack.
He was like 38 years old.
Well, at least you look out for each other.
Now, hang on.
Look, we wouldn't have done something he couldn't handle. He could take anything, right along with the best of them.
I gave them all shit.
You were in on it. You left him at the club.
I didn't think that you were actually going to go through with it.
Oh, Eve, it was all just a bunch of fun. It might have seemed a little harsher than it was.
Being kidnapped and threatened? Wow. I hope you don't have a whole bunch of fun lined up for me.
You know what?
Maybe you could waterboard me later. We can all have a good laugh.
Eve.
What's fun?
It was funny.
You and I have a very different idea about what's funny.
Well, apparently we do. Anyway.
Did you know he pissed himself?
Jesus, he did?
Yes, he did. He told me it was the most frightened he'd ever been in his life.
Well, I did not know that.
What did you just say? Okay, everyone. All right. We were total jerks. And you need to lighten up, okay? You may be Paul's daughter, but you are also a guest.
You're right.
There you go.
You're right. I'm sorry. I'm just a bit sensitive.
He was our friend, not our father. My apologies. It was a stupid story to tell.
I guess I owe you an apology, too.
Thank you. Don't get me wrong. I still think you're jerks.
Many would argue with you on that point.
Maybe emotions are running a little high right now.
Tell Eve about the book.
Right. Seeing as you're a big fan of my wife's writing, you may enjoy this. There might be a new book coming out, a collection of short stories.
Really?
Yeah, sounds like it.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah, I started going through her office for journals, files.
Her office?
Yeah.
She still has an office?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, at least I call it her office. Anyway, I came across a bunch of stuff she was working on. Some of it was crap, a lot of it unpublished, just a big pile of everything.
Enough for a book.
I think so. I mean, some of the unfinished stuff can just remain unfinished, just the way she left them.
Unfinished.
Yeah.
Wow. That would be a great name for the book, wouldn't it? It would be so creepy. I'm sorry, but it is. But I mean, that's why it works, right? It's a book of horror stories?
Well, they're not all horror stories. I mean, a lot of them are, but there's some stuff that's pretty different for Tara.
But most are.
Yeah.
Horror stories.
Yeah, that's what the public wants, so therefore it's what the publishers want.
Coming out on the 5th anniversary of her disappearance. Won't hurt sales, I'm sure.
Well, I don't care if it sells or not.
Then why are you doing it?
Well, there's still a
To
lot
honor
of-
her memory?
No. To honor someone's memory would imply that there's a memory to be honored. I don't believe there is.
I'm sorry?
To honor someone's memory would imply that they are no longer living.
I
I don't think Tara is dead.
You still think she's alive?
Yes, I do.
After 5 years.
Yes.
I was just finishing my undergrad when it happened. Everyone was talking about it. I remember seeing you on the news. You looked so tired. I knew you had nothing to do with it. I could see it in your eyes. Sometimes people just disappear. Go for a drive or a walk. And now here I am, sitting in your apartment. Stranger than fiction.
So, where are you staying?
Paul used to tell me about the times you'd all sit around on Christmas Eve, try to outdo each other with horror stories.
Huh.
What?
I didn't put it together. Eve.
Eve.
Christmas Eve.
Of course.
Oh.
Ah.
I told you, he loved those times. Could we
Some
do
pretty
it?
crazy times.
Do what?
Tell a story,
A story.
like you used to do with my dad. Oh, come on. Come on, it'll be fun. I don't mean to be disrespectful. It's
Well,
just
that's the
that
problem, is that you are being disrespectful.
Robert.
No!
Well,
No, Dave. That was a long time ago. Things have changed since then, if you haven't noticed.
I feel stupid.
Eve.
No, he's right. Robert is right. I don't know you. Paul did, but that doesn't give me the right to come in here and pretend like his friendships are mine.
Look, Eve, I'm sorry.
I really
it's just-
didn't know him any better than I know you.
Eve, you have to remember that things used to be different. There are some painful
I
memories.
just wanted to know him better. Through you and the things you did with him, I'm sorry, y'all just seem so close. And Paul talked about you so much. In fact, that's all he talked about. He would break this big smile whenever he'd talk about all the great times you had. And, well, I just wanted to experience something he felt was so special. Feel something he felt with the people he loved. Especially now, this time of year. Well, it's tradition.
Well, now I feel like a complete shit.
I'll bet.
Thanks, Dave. Look, Eve, I'm sorry.
A chef falls in love with an onion.
Sam.
Listen, Eve came a long way to spend time with us and get to know more about her father. We can do that for her.
Well, I'm glad my emotions don't get in the way.
A chef falls in love with an onion.
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's how it all started, you see. That's how Tara and Paul,
And sometimes with a little help from us.
yes, sometimes with a little help from us, came up with ideas for their stories. You see, they would quickly put together an absurd relationship between two things.
Okay.
Okay, so the more absurd the relationship between the two things, the more creative you get.
A chef falls in love with an onion.
Yeah. Okay, so a chef works with
Sharp knives.
sharp knives. Correct. Okay, and an onion makes you
Cry.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so based on that, Tara came up with, with a story about an embalmer who's, well, a surgeon of sorts, who falls in love with
With a corpse.
Oh, there you go.
This would be so much fun, Stoned.
Yes.
Possibly.
The other thing we would do is put together 3 unrelated items to come up with a storyline.
Like what?
A stick, a jar, and a knife, for instance.
Yeah.
A stick, a jar, and a knife.
Yeah, we,
Yeah. And then come up with what each thing means in the story.
That's right. We made a game out of it. You know, we come up with random objects. We had a lot of fun.
I love it.
Oh, your dad was so good, so quick.
So a stick, a jar, and a knife.
Yeah, like the jar might mean captivity or something you put away, and the stick might.
Prop you up.
Oh, exactly.
It takes a while to sort of catch on.
A match, a cork, and a spoon.
Or some people get it right away.
Good one. A match, a cork,
And a spoon.
Okay. A spoon. Ooh, tough one.
Good job. Tip off the old block.
Well, the match is easy. It creates fire or destruction.
Robert?
All right, okay. Provides light.
Romance. Candles.
Can even cauterize a wound or save a life.
I like the idea of illumination, but I like the drama of destruction.
Cork.
Love.
Love. How love?
Well, you always pop a bottle of champagne to celebrate something that involves love. A wedding, a baby, naming a yacht.
True.
Or something that makes people nervous.
Nervous.
Well, I hate when someone's opening a bottle of champagne.
Oh, I know, me too.
Me too.
It's like a gun.
Gun. Good one. Spoon.
Food.
Health. Food. Health.
Family.
No, but it's one spoon. Someone sitting alone eating.
Isolation.
Oh, I like that. A lonely couple.
Couple.
Well, 2 people make a match. Do they not?
You do.
Has to take place in a small town, right? Small town is a great backdrop for a ghost story.
Which is why
Do you know why?
Why?
Because you can't get away with anything in a small town. Someone is always watching, and people always talk. That's the funny thing, don't you think? People want to be invisible, but if you're too invisible, you can go crazy.
True.
So picture a typical small town with a water tower.
With the name of the town written on it.
Naturally. And a bandstand in the center of town, and a little donut shop that all the kids hang out at. But like every small town.
It has a dark secret.
Years ago, decades even, a bookkeeper who dreamt of bigger things married a beautiful young woman. They bought a nice little house and they started a family. The perfect family. Now, everyone in town said the wife had always been a bit different. But she became even stranger after the birth of her twin boys. She became less social. She rarely went outside. As time passed, she would sit down in the basement. But not just sit. She would sit down in the basement in a little wooden chair behind the furnace. She would just sit and stare. Her husband told friends that she would sometimes get up from the dinner table in the middle of a meal to go into the basement and sit in the chair and stare. He sometimes swore he could hear her whispering to someone, but when he tried to approach her, the whispering would stop. She would slowly turn and look at him, just waiting for him to leave. He tried everything. But as time passed, she slowly began to talk less to him and spend more time in the chair behind the furnace. One Christmas Eve, the husband came home early from work. He carried wrapped parcels under his arms, and in a bag held the Christmas turkey. And as he took off his coat and scarf, he felt a stillness in the air he had not felt for a very long time, since the twins were born. He stood motionless. He just stood and listened. Couldn't even hear the whispers. He slowly made his way downstairs, and as he walked across the room, his gaze focused on the old furnace, something caught his eye. Something seemed out of place at the far end of the room where the ceiling was highest. The little chair. He couldn't figure out why the little chair was on its side, hiding in the shadows. And then he realized what those shadows were. 3 things hanging, 2 of which were much, much smaller.
Well, this is fun.
So you like my story?
It's very dark. Details.
Should I
maybe a little-
continue?
Oh, I'm good to go.
Robert?
Well, I think we still need the spoon and the cork
And a ghost.
and the ghost.
Yes, bring on the ghost.
The house sat empty for years. No one wanted to move into the little house after what had happened in the basement. Winter became summer, and winter again. Years passed, and the house just sat and slowly fell apart. The windows were broken by rocks, and the paint peeled, leaving patches of gray. Up the road, not far from the little house at the back of the old church cemetery, the grave marker disappeared under a thick tangle of weeds and wildflowers. The family was no more than a memory now. Their story was told every Halloween by laughing kids trying to break the last panes of glass in the upper windows.
What happened to the father?
After the police left, he sat down at the kitchen table and had a bowl of his favorite soup. He just sat there, quietly eating. He finished the soup, washed the bowl and the spoon, and placed them neatly in the dish rack. He walked up the stairs, packed a few items in a bag, walked out the door and up the road, never once looking back. He just walked up the road and never returned.
Sounds more like the end of a story, not the beginning.
Oh no, I can assure you, it's not the end. You see, for James, well, his story is just the beginning.
James.
That was his name.
Ah.
Years passed. James became old Jimmy, who lived in the woods in a little cabin, isolated, alone. He became known as Old Jimmy the Hermit, who lived past Dog Water Bog.
Dog water?
Bog, yes.
What the fuck are you saying?
Bob, what the hell?
Bob, the phone?
You said Jimmy.
Yes.
What was his last name?
No.
Knuckles.
Bob, the phone. Oh, jeez, Bob, what the
You
hell?
want me to get them?
Hello. Yes. I don't understand. Yes. Wait. What? Wait.
Bob, is everything okay? What the hell was that?
Bob. That was Paul's daughter.
Yeah, I know. You freaked her out big time.
On the phone.
Paul's daughter.
Calling from Vancouver. Her flight's canceled. A storm.
Paul's daughter?
Yes, Eve.
Paul's daughter is here.
Yeah, I'm keenly aware of that, Dave.
Well, Paul's daughter. Then who's that?
I don't know.
What the hell's going on?
What do we do?
Well, maybe she called from the washroom or tried to be funny or something. I mean, she is a bit weird.
She was here when the phone rang. She was in the room.
Should we call the police? Yeah, we have to call police.
I don't know what she knows.
She knows us. She knows shit about us. I'm calling the cops.
Wait! What? Just wait.
Bob, there is a person in your house pretending to be someone else.
I need to think for a minute.
Think about what?
I need some time.
What the hell do we... What? What the hell's going on? Is the story... Bob?
It's
It's what?
when I was a kid.
Oh, okay. What?
Her story.
What about it?
Jesus Christ, Paul.
What about him? Would you finish a goddamn sentence?
He must have told her.
Bob, that's not Paul's daughter.
Whoever the fuck it is.
Well, unless the person who called is just screwing around.
Jimmy.
What about it? That's made up, isn't it?
I don't know what she knows.
What she knows? What the...
Just trust me, okay?
What? So we just sit here talking to her?
Yeah.
No.
Dave!
This is crazy. You've got to do something about this.
Dave, please. I just need some time, okay?
Okay, but Jesus Christ, Bob. What if she has a fucking gun? What if she has a fucking gun?
I just want to say I'm sorry.
Robert,
No, I'm probably the one that should apologize.
what got into you?
Hey, I'm apologizing, okay? It's just brought back a lot of old memories.
Oh, look, we need to freshen our drinks. Yeah, we're gonna need more wine.
I guess we need more wine. We drink too much.
He was really upset.
David? Yeah, Robert can sometimes be a little intense.
I can imagine.
He's coming around. You just gotta be sensitive to that.
Of course.
two just gonna stand there all night?
I would like to finish my story.
Yeah, that's not what I had in mind.
You know, your story,
What about it?
I'm a little skeptical.
Skeptical. It's fiction.
That's not what I mean. It's very well thought out.
Is it?
For something that's supposed to be spontaneous.
I mean, this is what you all do, isn't it?
It's what we used to do, yeah.
But yours seems a little rehearsed.
Well, it's a little bit detailed.
Is it?
Yes. You're a little too good at this, if you know what I mean.
Okay. You caught me. Busted. I'm a writer. Well, a struggling writer. Tough crowd.
And the plot thickens.
Now, where was I?
Now, hang on. So you're not just making this up?
Let's just say elements of it are a story I've been working on, yes. Is that cheating? I'm sorry.
Interesting.
Very.
So should I go on?
Well, we don't even know where you live.
I live in Boston.
Boston.
Yes,
It's a beautiful city.
it is.
Whereabouts in Boston?
Do you know Boston?
No,
Then me telling you won't mean anything.
not really.
I live downtown.
Downtown. Nice.
You've never been.
I've seen pictures.
Boston.
Yes, Boston.
Sorry, what's in Boston?
Me, when I'm there.
Paul had said you lived in Vancouver.
I thought Paul never mentioned me.
Not never, just rarely.
I used to live in Boston, or in Vancouver, but I recently moved to Boston for work. I have dual citizenship.
Must be nice. So, what do you do besides struggle?
I work in a bookstore. It's small, but I love it.
And, what's it called?
Octopus books? Okay. So which one of you is the bad cop and which is the good cop?
Yeah, I was about to ask the same question.
Relax.
Trying.
I'm just kidding.
We're just chatting, Sam.
Chatting.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't mind. I get it. I came out of nowhere and you're curious about me. You want to know where I'm from, why I'm here. So go ahead. Ask away.
All right. Why are you here?
How about I tell the story first?
Now, hang on. You moved across the country for a job in
What?
a bookstore? You said you moved from Vancouver to Boston for work.
You asked me where I worked. You didn't ask what I wanted to do with my life. Those are usually two very different things.
So I take it you want us to ask you what you want to do with your life.
Sure. Ask.
Well, you mentioned that you're a struggling writer, so I'm going to go way out on a limb and say you want to be a writer.
Yes, but not just a writer. A famous writer of modern horror, just like...
My wife.
Yes, just like your wife.
Well, you certainly have the imagination for it.
Do I?
I would say.
Well, you know a good story when you hear it. Surely you gave your wife feedback.
My wife didn't need feedback. She was a very...
Talented writer.
Yes.
Do you think I should do something with my story? Try to get it published?
I think that so far it is interesting. But I mean, it really isn't a story. It's just part of a story about a hermit.
But I haven't told you the best part yet.
Ah.
What kind of ghost story would it be without the horror?
Is it a ghost story or a horror story?
Horror story, ghost story. What's the difference?
A ghost story doesn't have to be scary. It can be simply emotional.
But a horror story is about blood and death. Killing.
Yes, often.
And a ghost story is more psychological.
Can be.
Like if you saw a dead relative, you might not be scared. You might just get emotional at the experience
Yes,
of seeing someone you love that is dead.
maybe.
At the door or on the phone.
So where is your ghost?
Where's yours?
Excuse me?
Am I missing something
For
here?
two teenagers growing up in the small town of Gravenhurst, it isn't a lot to do during a long, hot summer months. And hearing stories about the crazy old hermit who lived just miles away, deep in the woods, was too tempting to pass up. One July day, the boys set off first thing in the morning. And after biking as far as they could, they hid their bikes under branches and set off on foot through dog, water bog. After trudging for nearly an hour through the eerily quiet marsh and forest, the boys came to a clearing. They came within feet of Jimmy's home. They stood in silence and stared at the neatly constructed cabin, not the patchwork shack that had been described so many times by people who swore they had visited the old man. They slowly walked up to the front door. It was partially open, but it didn't sound like anyone was inside. They stepped into the tiny cabin. It was dimly lit by an old-style kerosene lamp that cast shadows on the wall. A bed sat in the corner with several old blankets neatly stretched across it. The cabin was surprisingly neat and tidy. A clean plate and bowl sat on the table, clearly set for dinner, with one clean spoon sitting next to them. But what struck the boys most were the books. Hundreds and hundreds of books on shelves, in piles and boxes and bags. They stood in silence and looked around the room. And then the boys turned in a second at the loud bag and found themselves only feet from the matted-haired old hermit. The hermit stood there grinning. He whispered, "My boys." The boys rushed towards the door, pushing the old hermit out of the way, and in doing so, sent the frail old man into the table, knocking the dishes to the floor, and more unfortunately, the lamp. The boys turned and saw the hermit trying to blow out the flames that slowly crept across the floor towards his books, and far worse, up his arm. He seemed more concerned about saving his books than the fact that he was slowly becoming wrapped in flames. But instead of helping the old man, they ran.
He died trying to save his books.
The last thing the boys saw as they ran towards the deep woods was the hermit staggering out of the cabin, his clothes smoldering, his skin blistered, and although he was badly burned, he was still very much alive. In fact, he was well enough to yell 5 very simple words.
Which were...
I know who you are.
How could you know that?
Yes, Robert. How?
It's predictable. What else would he yell?
So he didn't die.
No.
Story's not over.
With those 5 simple words, I know who you are. The boys knew they were in trouble. After all, he might just be a crazy old hermit, but their parents wouldn't be too pleased at knowing they almost burned down his cabin with him in it. People may have ignored him, but they still had a soft spot for old Jimmy. Murder is murder. After running through the woods, the boys fell on the ground, gasping for breath. They pictured the lecture, the grounding, or worse, what if they were charged? After all, one of their fathers was the chief of police.
Chief of police.
Yes?
His father was the chief of police in a small town.
In my story?
Oh.
Yes?
Well, in Robert's story as well, as it turns out.
I'm sorry?
Robert's dad was a cop,
Oh?
right? Uh-huh. Something tells me she already knew that.
I'm just telling a story.
Yeah. Are you? What the hell?
Eve is a big fan of my wife's writing.
She's also a writer. Yes, struggling writer.
Does a little research, gets a little background information, works it into a story.
Is that what you think I did?
It's possible.
And why would I do that?
To get my attention.
Do you think I'm stalking you, Robert?
I didn't say that.
Then what are you saying? After I finish the story...
You know, I
you
don't
might-
think we need to know anymore.
Don't we? Have we heard enough? Robert? Have we heard enough?
Robert.
Don't you want to know how the story ends?
It's just a story you made up. Who cares how it ends?
Did you ever say that to your wife, Robert?
Okay, playtime is over.
Because really, the end of the story is the most important part. That's where the twist is revealed.
Eve?
Without the twist, you just have a story about a couple of asshole teenagers who burned down a poor, scared, lonely old man's cabin. Don't you want to know what happens next? Aren't you the slightest bit curious? David, you're a curious man.
Am I?
Oh, I think so.
And how do you know if I'm curious or not? You don't know me.
I know your type.
Type?
Yes. I can tell a lot about someone just by being around them.
Oh, so now you're a psychic.
I don't need to be psychic.
What a wonderful gift. Just pull something out of the air and say, that's how you are.
But I didn't pull it out of the air.
No, and where did you pull it from?
The police file.
What police file?
The file on Tara's disappearance.
What the hell?
Well, surely you saw it.
What the hell are you talking
The
about?
file on Tara's disappearance. It was pretty comprehensive. Over 400 pages. It even included photographs of her car, her office, reports on her phone activity.
Why or how would you have access to my wife's police file? And
Any-
why?
Anyone can have anything they want if you know how to pull it out of the air.
What the hell is going on here?
What are you saying?
Why is everyone freaking out? I was just saying I saw photographs and reports of things, like Tara's cell phone,
What about her cell phone?
messages.
What messages? There weren't any.
Well, messages can be deleted and retrieved.
Robert,
Dave, what the hell is she
this is
saying?
crazy. Listen to her.
Dave?
We don't even know who she is. She's crazy.
Oh, I'm crazy? And you got mad at me for saying you were curious. How does that work?
Shut up.
David, what is she saying? And what do you mean, who she is?
Somebody better explain to me right
Will
now.
you let me finish the story? Let me finish the story.
Fuck the story,
let's
okay?
just all calm down. Jeez. Eve, I think
We were
that-
all calm until she came in here and started.
And what, Dave?
She's making shit up.
Like what?
The story, right? She's just screwing with us, with you.
The story. Jeez, what? I mean, okay, so what? Some teenagers burnt down a cabin.
And they were never punished because they lied. They were so afraid of their parents that they lied about the fire. Not that it happened or that they were responsible, but why it happened.
Why?
If something else happened in those woods that day, if Jimmy did something so terrible and hard to talk about, then no one, no parent, no adult, no chief of police would question them or blame them for what happened.
Oh, God.
So poor Jimmy, who just wanting to be left alone, not only lost his home that day, he was accused of something much worse.
Shut up.
That's not all he lost, is it?
We were kids.
The parents, especially the police chief, were so angry and afraid that this monster, this crazy hermit monster, might do something, hurt another.
I don't think I need to know anymore.
That a father went into the woods that night carrying a flashlight, a gun, and a shovel.
A match, a cork, and a spoon.
He walked that night through Dog Water Bog. He found the old hermit. And as the old man knelt on the cold, wet ground, scared and confused, he prayed. A few minutes later, the lone man with the shovel buried the body and walked back into the night.
This did not happen. Robert?
What is it that you're after? Is it money? What is it?
Money? Don't make me laugh.
Money! Bob, this is Paul's daughter. Why would she be here for your money?
Is she?
Is she what?
Paul's daughter.
Well, I mean, of course she is.
And how do you know?
Well, because she told us that she
Dad, we're
was.
just supposed to believe her.
Well, what are you saying?
Ask her.
Ask her
Ask
what?
her if she's Paul's daughter.
Ask her.
Oh, this is crazy, and you guys are scaring me. Jesus.
When the phone rang earlier, do you know who it was?
Who?
Eve Morris.
What?
Eve Morris calling from Vancouver. Her flight's been canceled.
You have to explain this. Why aren't you explaining this? Why are you just sitting there?
Because she isn't Eve Morris. So she can't explain it.
Oops.
Then who the hell are you?
You know, I've watched Black Frost 27 times, and I cry every time the husband cries out frantically for his wife who just disappeared while on a picnic. And they never find her. I mean, why would they? He yells and yells for her, and people just stare at him like he's crazy. Much like you're staring at me now. The movie ends the way you think it will end, but not the way you want it to. Much like life when you think about it. I'm sure Paul knew how his life was going to end, but it wasn't how he wanted it to.
Who the hell are you? I asked you a question.
The movie ends with no conclusions, only more questions. The door doesn't swing open with the wife running into her husband's arms. The phone doesn't ring with the husband answering it and breaking into sobs of joy. I'm answering your question. I'm answering your question. I'm the daughter of your oldest friend.
But you
I'm also the granddaughter of a lonely old hermit.
You can't.
I'm your wife's biggest fan. I'm someone you met in a dark room in a club in New York. I'm the daughter you gave up for adoption.
Jesus Christ.
What the hell?
Call the police?
The police? Absolutely! Call the police. I'm sure they love a good story.
Robert, call the police.
Wait, Sam. Just
Wait for what?
Yes, for what, Robert?
David.
David, no.
Your father's still alive, isn't he, Robert? Still living in the same small town he was so respected in.
You are sick. Do you know that?
He must be getting up there in age. Be such a shame for him to live out the last few years of his life under investigation, under scrutiny, being judged, and finding out that the dark secret he's been hiding all these years, the horrible thing he did, was based on a lie.
This is insane.
I think we know what or who is insane here.
Who the hell are you? I'm asking you for the last time.
Or what, Robert? Am I going to mysteriously disappear?
Whoa! Gee, stop! Stop!
Get your fucking hands off me! What happened between you and Tara?
Nothing. I swear to you, nothing.
The husband of missing writer Tara Waters implicated in a murder. My God! If you thought the press went crazy before, just imagine.
My God. What fucking rock did you crawl out from under?
Oh, I am really feeling the love.
It was a mistake what happened. You're talking about something that happened years ago. It was an accident.
An accident?
It was an accident. We were young.
Robert, is she telling the truth?
We were young.
The
we were
story
scared. We
that
didn't know.
she told, is it true? I mean, she's lying, right?
I was...
Tell me that she is lying.
Yes, okay, we did it.
Are you telling me that poor old man in the woods was killed because you lied to your father? Jesus Christ, Robert! Don't just, you know what, just give me a second to think. Fuck, you know, if the press ever got a hold of this...
How about the police? It would be a murder investigation. Your father could be questioned, charged even.
How do you know all this?
Paul must have told her.
She doesn't know Paul. The person that knows Paul is in Vancouver.
God damn it, this is so fucking confusing.
Besides, even if she is Paul's daughter, he never would have told her. We promised we would never tell a soul. How do you know all this? It was a mistake.
A
what happened.
mistake?
It was a mistake!
Nuts!
A horrible mistake. Something I've been living with for over 30 years. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't think about.
Bob.
What happened to that man was because I was afraid of getting into trouble. Do you have any idea?
Bob, you have to calm down.
No, I don't have to calm down. I don't have to do anything. And what is she talking about phone messages? What phone messages?
She's crazy. You said it yourself. She's making shit up.
Okay, I
Is she?
think everyone
Bob,
just needs to calm down.
Bob, it's me. You know I would never.
Are you sleeping with Tara too?
Bob, what are you insinuating?
Okay, all right. I lied about the messages.
What?
Well, yeah, I didn't want David to feel left out.
You are psychotic. Who does that?
What is the matter?
Seriously, who does that? You are sick. You are seriously sick.
And you have no proof? All you have is a story you heard from someone
Who's what, Robert?
Doesn't matter. All you have is a story, some urban myth.
An urban myth?
Yes. Okay. I have no idea what you're talking about. Go ahead. Go to the police. Something tells me you won't.
And why not?
Because you're after something.
And what am I after?
What everybody's after. Money.
I
Exactly.
told you I don't want your money. Paul took care of me in his will.
Fucking knew it.
Then what do you want?
Attention, publicity. It doesn't matter what she wants because she has no proof. All she has is a story.
Actually, that's where you're wrong, Robert.
What do you mean?
Proof.
What proof? What's that?
Sin brought death, and death will disappear with the disappearance of sin. A confession from Paul Morris with a pretty detailed account about how your father murdered James Knuckles in cold blood and buried the body in Dog Water Bog. About 100 feet from his cabin. The cabin you burned down, but don't worry. You can still find it.
There is no way that Paul would know that.
Bob, keep quiet.
Look how red you're getting. Have you had your heart checked lately, Robert?
There'd be nothing left. His body was buried in a marsh.
Shut up!
Actually, he was buried in a bog. And unfortunately for you, bodies are generally perfectly preserved in a bog. Something about the moss acts as an antibacterial and the lack of oxygen. It's all very technical. Google it.
This will kill my father.
He'll survive.
I don't get it. If all this is true, why? Why would Paul confess?
Guilt, I guess.
Clear his conscience. He was dying.
No, that's not Paul's style. Clear his conscience, maybe. But he wouldn't leave Bob or his dad out to hang.
No, he would change it somehow.
Change it how?
He'd say that he could. His father's dead. He could clear his conscience and not fuck me over.
He was 15. Nobody would believe that.
Is there any more scotch? Let's play another game.
Enough with the games!
But you love games. All of you love games.
This is not a game, Eve, or whatever the fuck your name is. No one here is laughing or having any fun.
Of course you are. This is the greatest game ever. Aren't you curious as to how it ends?
How it ends?
Yes,
How what ends?
tonight.
What do you mean?
The ending. There's only 10 minutes left.
Until what?
The end of the story, silly.
What the fuck are you talking about?
You know, Robert, you swear a lot. Mostly at me.
Okay, enough is enough. Robert, if you do not call the cops, I will.
Wait.
This is insane and it is frightening.
I gotta agree, Robert. This is getting out of hand.
What ending?
You're an editor. You know how stories work. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end.
This isn't a story.
Isn't it? We have all the ingredients. The faithful friends, the haunted man with a secret, the missing wife.
You leave my goddamn wife out of this.
Was she damned, Robert?
What?
See, I don't think she was. You know, I used to read her books and wish so much that I was her. All those ideas in her head just waiting to get out. Not everybody has that luxury, Robert. A lot of people walk around with ideas that never get out. They just sit there, waiting. She'd sit down, open her laptop, and they would just fall out of her head. And then a few months later, it's a bestseller. My ideas stay in my head. I can't seem to get them onto paper no matter how hard I try. That's why I wished I was her.
Eve, some frightened kids made a horrible mistake, and geez, a father thought he was doing what he had to do to protect his
Cold
children.
Secrets.
Cold Secrets.
It's my favorite book. I've read it three
Three times, yes, you have told us.
After the shock of finding her murdered father, Claire then discovers her husband is having an affair.
I would tread very lightly here, Eve.
What she doesn't know, until it's too late, of course, is that he will do anything to cover it up, or he'll lose everything. After all, she's the one with the money. How long after Tara left were you two having sleepovers?
Fuck you!
I got this. Eve. You don't know me. Now you may have heard a few cute stories about me, but you don't know me. Now I have been quietly sitting, keeping the peace while you fuck with a few heads. Ooh. Now you see, what separates me from these two is that I would have absolutely no problem kicking your ass into next week, and trust me, I could, and I would love it.
It ends now.
Good girl.
Okay, Eve. You win. You have our attention. We're ready for your grand ending. You have the floor.
It's not my grand.
Well, whatever the fuck it is. What did I ever do to you? What did my father ever do to you? You are going to take an old man and stick him in the spotlight, a man who only ever tried to do the right thing, but that's not going to matter. They're going to put him in a jail cell, and everything he did his entire life isn't going to mean a thing.
Where's the ghost?
What?
Where is the ghost?
What do you mean?
The ghost in Eve's story.
Yeah. Where's the ghost?
Your story, you
What about it?
kept calling it a ghost story.
Yes.
Where's the ghost?
Up until now, it's only been a horror story, but you kept calling it a ghost story. So, where's your ghost? What the?
You wanted a ghost?
You cannot be serious.
No. But wouldn't that be the best twist ever?
Jesus Christ.
The only problem is, who would I be the ghost of? There aren't any women in my story. Only this story.
Enough
If
of
there
this shit! I've had enough! You know, you come in here, you talk about my wife, we don't even know who you are! You make accusations about my father, you threaten to ruin his life, to ruin my life.
Robert?
Do you think you're the only one that can
This!
get a hold of yourself?
Robert! Oh my God, stop it! Gee, you guys are gonna kill each other! Give me that fucking bottle!
You lost your mind? Let go of my fucking arm! I'm trying to stop you from
Well,
doing
I
something.
must run. You know, we should do this again. Make it an annual
What?
thing.
You're leaving?
Unfortunately, yes, I really do have. Oh, shit, where's my. Oh. Ugh. I really do have to get back. I have a dog.
But
Fun times. Oh, actually, you can keep this. Goodbye. Oh, and by the way, Paul says hello.
What the hell?
Jesus Christ.
are you fucking kidding me?
What the hell just happened?
Are you fucking kidding me?
I don't believe this.
She just...
Oh, Paul, you so my God.
Paul, you son of a bitch.
Are you telling me that this whole thing, this whole evening was fucking payback for the van thing?
Looks like it was.
His daughter came in here and... Was that his daughter?
Who knows?
Well, then who called?
A friend? Or maybe that wasn't Eve. Who knows?
I told you not to do the van thing.
That was your idea.
Oh.
Jesus Christ, I don't believe this.
Guys, there is still a matter of...
Yeah.
I mean, so what? I mean, she didn't call the police?
I guess just remains.
The remains.
Remain?
I guess it's like it never happened.
That... Oh my God, that took guts!
We could have killed her. You almost did.
I did not. I was trying to scare her.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit, what a night!
Cannot believe that just happened.
That story.
Holy
How
shit.
the hell did you find out about that girl at the club?
Oh my God.
What?
How did I not catch it?
Catch what?
Sin brought death, and death will disappear with the disappearance of sin. It's from Paul's first book, Burn.
Holy...
Paul, I need a drink.
Oh my God. I need food.
How can you be hungry at a time like this?
I have not eaten all day.
I'll have some tofu salad.
No fucking tofu salad.
Oh. Pizza.
Pizza.
A meat lover's pizza. My treat.
But I don't get it.
Get what?
You're right. She may have been screwing with us, but there's still...
Yeah, right.
Jimmy. And what my dad did in the body, I mean, that's still happened. Is she just going to keep quiet about it? Is she just going to forget about it?
I guess. It's the way Paul wanted it, I suppose. He just wanted to fuck with you.
Paul, you fucking asshole.
No.
No what?
That's not how this plays out.
Plays out?
This whole thing.
And how are you so sure?
Oh, that's not Paul's style. He would not have gone to all of this trouble. What, planned a whole night based around something that has haunted the both of you for this long? Fuck with you about your dad. No. I don't buy it.
Okay, so what then?
Open it.
No, I don't want to.
Something tells me that you do.
Be my guest.
It's a death certificate. James Knuckles.
What? James Knuckles?
Old Jimmy?
Don't understand. Old Jimmy? How can there be a death certificate?
Unless they found the body.
Yeah, they found the body. In a nursing home in Lansdowne.
What?
Natural causes.
Yeah, he
Jesus Christ.
only died 12 years ago.
Lansdowne?
In a nursing home.
What does this mean?
It means all this about him being murdered and your dad? It didn't happen, buddy.
My dad didn't do anything?
No, except to what? Get a lonely old guy some help because his son burnt his home down.
Oh my God.
You and Paul, you both thought your father killed him.
We were sure of it. I mean, no one ever saw him again. I can still remember my dad. He was so mad. We never talked about it all these years. Why didn't he ever say anything?
Oh, he wanted to keep it as quiet as you did.
He also probably didn't think that you thought of him as, you know.
A murderer.
Exactly.
I think my dad and I have to have a little chat. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. I guess we got our ghost after all, huh?
I guess we did. Paul Morris. And he got the last laugh.
So Paul found out that Jimmy died in a nursing home and wasn't killed.
By my dad.
And just wanted to fuck with you. Payback for the van thing.
Payback for everything, I think. I mean, how long was he hanging on to that one? I mean, we can't even get him back. He's dead.
Yeah.
Or is he? Just kidding. He's dead.
Jerk.
Yep. No, but my point is, it's one thing to screw with us and then let us off the hook when he wanted to. He had complete control over the situation.
And the last laugh.
No, his daughter, or whoever the hell she was, she had complete control, man. She played us like idiots. She was good.
If I wasn't so relieved, I would be furious.
You know that. That's one for the books.
He got us. Holy shit, did he get us?
Make a great story.
There's your other story for the book. Got us from the grave.
Oh. I'll even write it. From beyond the grave. I like that for the book, actually. Tara Waters from Beyond the Grave. That works.
No, but my point is, yeah, sure, he did one hell of a job on us. What? I can't believe for 1 second that Paul would ever.
Yeah.
Right?
Tara.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, jeez. Yeah, pizza. Sorry, guys.
Paul would just, he would never use Tara's disappearance in a joke.
No, I
no
thought
matter
that
how
too.
elaborate. Never.
I thought that too.
Tara's disappearance messed him up.
Yeah,
They were close.
So, it doesn't add up. What was he up to?
I guess he had to use Tara. Raise the stakes, throw us off.
No, he
did.
wouldn't. He wouldn't. You said so yourself.
Well, then what the fuck?
It's not over.
What?
It's not over.
What are you saying?
Pizza in 40 minutes. What's not over?
Nothing.
He wasn't the same.
Bob.
I mean, after Tara disappeared, you could tell, right?
What's going on?
I mean, it affected us all, but Paul and I didn't talk much after.
Robert, it was a hard time for everyone. We all loved Tara.
I mean, we all kind of drifted apart, I guess.
He would call and ask how the investigation was going. Was there any new information? Why was he asking so many questions?
Bob, what happened tonight was payback. Plain and simple.
Can someone just please explain to me why everyone here looks like they just saw a ghost?
He just wanted to fuck with you. All the shit we did to him, he had to.
Why was he asking so many questions?
Well, we were all worried about you.
Not like Paul.
You need a drink. Hey, you need a drink. It's been a rough night. That was one hell of a practical joke.
It wasn't a joke.
Well, what do you think it was then?
He was taunting me.
Oh, come on.
That son of a bitch was taunting me.
Taunting you. That taunting you about what?
Tara.
Tara. Jeez. Would you listen to yourself? I mean, Paul knew how much you and Tara loved each other.
How could I be so
Paul and Tara
stupid?
they were best friends.
How did I not see this? Paul, too.
Oh. Whoa. What? Are you suggesting that what Tara and Paul were
Well, I'm glad I wasn't the only person in the dark.
Bob,
in the dark?
you don't know that.
Tara was having an affair.
What shit? With Paul.
This tonight was more than just payback.
Nah, I don't. There's no way that Tara and Paul. There's no way, okay? Tara, she would never have cheated on you. The two of you were
It
inseparable.
wasn't just one.
Tara?
Tara.
Well, how do you know? I mean, did she say anything?
I went through her phone one day when she was in the shower. So fucking cliche.
Text messages.
Her phone was sitting right there.
But, yeah, it just doesn't seem like her, you know. She never said anything.
Well, she wouldn't tell anything to you, do you think? She was sick. It was an addiction.
How long?
She wanted me to find out. I realized after.
After what? What did you do when you found out?
I went into the shower with her phone.
Well, what did she say?
You want to know what she did?
Bob, you need to seriously
She smiled.
think.
Smiled.
I mean, I thought she would cry, apologize, lie, make something up. All she did was smile. Smile and go back to washing her hair while I stood there like a fool.
Oh, come on. She must have said something.
No. She just smiled and went back to washing her fucking hair.
Robert.
I mean, I was looking at these pictures with my wife.
Robert, what happened?
I mean, the worst was she just ignored me like I wasn't even there. I mean, I was used to that, I guess.
Robert.
Sam, just leave him alone.
What?
Leave him alone, okay? He's had a
Oh,
fucking...
shut up, David. Robert, what did you do?
She was fucking every guy in the goddamn...
Yes, I got that.
And the
Thank
shit,
you.
And the shit that happened tonight, just
I
fucking
am
give him
not
a break.
talking about tonight, okay? This is about Tara and what happened.
Just drop it, Sam.
I am not going to drop it. God, you know me well enough to know that I am not just going to drop it.
You don't know. Just...
Beyond the grave?
What?
Tara Waters, from beyond the grave.
So what? So what? What does
Robert,
that have
just
to-
now, here, you put Tara in a grave for the first time.
Bob, shut
You know,
up.
you have always been the first one to admit that Tara isn't dead, you know, that she's alive, that she could walk through that door at any minute, you know, she could call. But just now, you put her in a grave.
Come on. A book title, really, Sam?
You admitted that she's dead.
Stop being a fucking lawyer for 2 minutes. He didn't admit anything.
Robert,
let this go, Sam. Just
I
fucking let it
will not just let this go. Okay?
Just
Just what, Dave? Huh? Just what?
God damn it, Sam. You have no fucking idea
I'm so
what.
tired.
Shut up!
Oh, God.
Shut up! Sam, you have no idea. You have to stop this right.
No, I don't have to do anything, okay? But you know what I am going to do? I'm going to prove that
I hit
son
her.
of a-
I hit her.
God damn it, Bob.
I hit her. I don't know how many times. She went down hard. I just stood there. I couldn't move. I knew the minute I moved, I would have to deal with it. You know what I thought about? 5 minutes. Oh, God. That's all I wanted back was 5 minutes. That's stupid, right? I just stood there. The water showered down on her, pink. Then it turned clear, just clear water. I just stood there while the water showered down on her, just kept going. It's the last thing she did was turn the water on for a shower. I just stood there. I couldn't move. It was an accident what happened.
You knew this whole time. And no, it wasn't. It wasn't an accident. You killed her and you cannot go back. But you can do the right thing now. Robert, you know, you can make things right.
No.
You let everyone think that there was hope, that she was still alive. Her mother died without knowing whatever happened to her.
No.
And her sister is still out there looking for her!
No. Sam,
Oh,
no.
Paul, you and this whole time, I did not want to believe him, but he knew. You know, he just could not prove it. He knew you killed her.
No one can prove anything.
You know what? He was trying to put the pieces together. And you know what? He did prove one thing, though.
What's that?
That you are weak.
Weak.
Yes, weak. You would crack someday. You just needed a push.
Eve.
Ding ding. You see, Paul was trying to prove to me what he suspected all along so that I could do something about it.
No one's ever gonna know.
He wanted you to pay.
She was with all these guys. Throwing in his face.
police? What? What, you don't think that he could lie to you for one day?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, there wasn't any other guys. There was just one. His friend.
Jesus Christ, Bob. Please tell me she's wrong. Tell me she's wrong!
Soon the police will come and, oh, you will have to pay for everything that you did.
The police aren't coming. She didn't call them. What would she tell them? She had no proof. He had no proof. You have no proof.
Doesn't matter
What doesn't matter?
that she didn't call the police.
Why?
Because I did. A rock, a rose, and a phone.